Last season in our Building a Nation save with FC Voluntari in Romania, we were crowned champions of Romania once again. We in fact won the treble, the domestic treble, but we did get knocked out of the Champions League at the round of 16. This time in the Champions League, I'm hoping to do probably just as good, maybe. If we can get into the quarterfinals, that would be absolutely magical. We are obviously going to still be gunning for the domestic treble, which I think realistically has to be our objective with Voluntari now until the end of time. With it being the 1st of July, well in fact it's actually the 4th of July, we have started our transfer window already and we've done a little bit of business. 2 players have joined the club so far, both of them defenders. We have Mouad Souleymani, who is a French centre-back signed from Lyon for, free transfer. Was it from Lyon? It might have actually been, it was from Lyon, yeah. He was on loan at Hermannstad for 2 seasons and I've brought him in because he's 20 and he looks pretty good. He's not going to play a huge amount of football, but for a free transfer, you can't really go wrong. And for £6 million, yes, we did have to pay the Romanian tax, is Dan Albu, 22 years of age, Romanian international with 1 cap to his name. He should probably have a few more. Signed from CFR Cluj, like I said, £6 million, but we did have to kind of pay a little bit more because basically we are the best team in Romania and nobody wants to sell to us unless they kind of have to or we kind of strong arm them. We've also got rid of 2 players on free transfers. Nicholas Rusu is one of them, a 19-year-old. He's gone to Timisoara, might be their name. And Eric Mihais has gone to FC Hermannstad, and he's dropped down to their under-19s. I thought he might get game time there. Obviously, we've got a whopping £47 million to spend in this summer transfer window. I don't really know what we're going to do. I'm not sure whether we should kind of do what we did last season, which was spend a huge amount of money, particularly on wages, to make our team try and desperately try and do something half decent in Europe. It might be what we go for. £47 million will go a long way. And that £47 million has basically disappeared. We've just got £2 million left in our transfer budget, so what have we done throughout the summer? We've spent a lot of money. You can see the spikes here. We've spent 48.31 million in just September alone. The first of 7 players to join. Fernando Cedeno, the 30-year-old now Panamanian central defender, has signed on a free transfer. Yes, you are reading that correctly. We did have him before. He got sold. We brought him back on a free transfer. He's going to play in the second team. I brought him solely to play in the second team, and he's not happy about it. Also joining on a free transfer is Kenneth Donkor, a 32-year-old Ghanaian central defender. This goes against everything in my body to do this, to sign anyone over the age of 30, but he's a very good centre-back. He's probably our best central defender, even if he's only here for a year and on a free transfer. He's a good signing, isn't he? He's a good player. For £63,000, we have signed Pavel Slončić. Might be his name, might be a Slonkick. I'm not quite sure. He is 23. He's got 16 Czechia caps, and he's actually not too bad. I brought him in to be a right back. I think actually he's probably more of a defence midfielder, which is also quite good because we play both defence midfielders and right backs. Technically, he's a natural centre back. I don't like it. He's got 7 heading. For £900,000, we have brought in a natural left-back in the shape of Michael Vasil, a 22-year-old Slovakian with 19 caps to his name. He's going to be our starting left-back. And before we jump to the final 2 players that we have signed, who I am very, very excited about, we're going to take a look at the players we've sold. Jose Garcia has gone to Cerro FC. He just wasn't really playing. I mean, he played 12 times, but yeah, he's gone for pennies. Eric Aruna has left, signing for FC Rapid. I had high hopes for Aruna, but he just wasn't really improving at all. He's moved for about, I'm not even sure, 100 something? 195, potentially going to 210,000. Zinedine Boras has left, signing for Dynamo Bucharest for, I think, 900,000? It's not 900, £400,000. Again, another player, we just weren't playing him. We spent too much money on him, loaned him out every season, and then just sold him. 32-year-old Frank Ferher has left the club, signing for FCSB at 32 years of age. I think he's starting to decline. Plus, we brought players in, which means he's not going to be getting game time soon. Little hint there as to what positions we brought in. For £1.1 million, Victor Vidarsson, now 33 years of age, has left, going over to Birmingham for £3.5 million. This one I did not want to do, but we didn't really have too much of a choice. Stephen Marcelo has left, signing for Southampton. He's now worth potentially up to £24 million. I think there's a sell-on in there, but at the age of 26... I feel like we're not going to get any return from that. A player that we brought last season has already moved on. Bienvenu now has signed for Liverpool, which means there is a 50% sell-on in there. We've sold him for £3.1 million, which is not a lot of money. It's technically a profit, but Liverpool brought him in And I feel like this could be a big moneymaker in a couple of years' time, maybe when he's sort of 24, 25, if they sell him for, if they sell him for £40 million, we're getting 20 of that. The reason why he signed Vasil is because Teboho Jacobs, the South African left-back, has left the club, signed for Al Fateh for £6.25 million, because that was his minimum fee release. We are getting burned by some of these minimum fee release clauses. It's annoying, but I'm kind of okay with it right now because we're still bringing in some decent young players to replace them. It's not the end of the world, but I would have loved to have kept Jacobs in our team because I think what we've brought in to replace him in the shape of Vasil, he's not as good. And the final player to leave the club is Alexandru Fire, who has signed for West Ham for potentially £17.5 million, I think. Yeah, £17.5 million. He has moved on. He was just getting really annoyed that he wasn't playing a huge amount of football. He was getting annoyed that we kept turning down lots of offers. So I went, you know what, off your pop, mate. We have got a 50% sell on in there as well. So once again, if he moves on in the future, big money coming to Voluntari. So joining the club, you can see two names down there and the values. We've got Vincent Marengo signed from Vitesse for £23.5 million. We've got Carlo McLennan signed from Celtic for £18.25 million. McLennan is a Scottish central midfielder and attacking midfielder at 21 years of age. I've put a lot of eggs in the McLennan and Marengo shaped baskets because I feel like these could be the future of not just Scottish or Romanian football in general. I don't know why, but I'm there going, they've got such high potential, but they're also pretty good now. So I've kind of gone, let's throw some money at him. McLennan has come in. He's going to be playing as that attacking midfielder, which is why I sold Fairher, because basically that was the position Fairher was playing. McLennan is now going to take that role. And more expensively, Vincent Marengo is going to be playing on the left-hand side. 23 years of age, Dutch, under 21 international, not full international. He is going to be playing week in, week out. He's also a natural striker as well. He has signed a contract that says that I will be playing him as a left winger, as an inside forward on the left-hand side, which is where I wanted him to play anyway, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, Marengo's in. They're both getting paid quite a lot of money. And if we just take a look at the squad very quickly, sorting by salary, there's a weird bias to players who aren't from Romania. Our highest earner from Romania is Andre, who's on £6,500 a week, and he's pretty good. But then everyone above him is on way, way more. It's actually Albu. Okay, it's Albu. But Albu is still not on a huge sum, is he? He's £8,750 a week. But then you jump up. Sloncic, who's a new signing, is getting paid double what Albu is getting paid. Vasil, Umru, Niassi, Fries, who, by the way, Fries, very good. He's a very good player. He just does his job, doesn't do anything outstanding, just gets on with business. Montandas is on 36. Mwenya's on a decent salary. Donkor is our fourth highest earner at the age of 32. And then we've got 74, 77. And Dan Machaba, who is on far too much money for his ability, is on £170,000 a week. We are spending our wage budget. Well, in fact, we're not spending our full wage budget. We've still got £150,000 a week to spend. We're not going to spend it for the sake of spending it. You probably already clocked as well. We are locking in 4 players into the starting 11. We are sticking Albu in as a centre-back because if we don't do that, they don't necessarily play him, which is kind of annoying. Machaba will be again playing as that defensive midfielder, but I'm starting to get concerned that Machaba might not be the one for the job. But we're locking him in at the moment. Marengo and McLennan will be on the left, and our strikers. If we take a look as well, up front, Montandas and Niassi. I don't think I mentioned Niassi. I completely forgot about Niassi. For £5.25 million, Boubacar Niassi, 21-year-old Senegalese striker, signed from Craiovia. He's good, isn't he? He's a very good player. We brought him in to basically have a little bit more competition up front, and I think we're certainly going to do that. Professional YouTuber over here. This is what, season 19? And yeah, still getting it wrong. It's also season 18. If we just very quickly look at our best 11 as well, this is the reason why I lock in a lot of players, because so many people seem to change. Montandas goes on the left wing, Umaru as the attacking midfielder, Niassi in up front. Machaba keeps his place but shifts side for some reason, and that's it. So the 4 players that I'm locking in, Machaba is the only one who keeps his place. And when you think we've got McLennan and Marengo who are getting paid £150,000 a week between the pair of them, I want them getting game time. We spent £6 million on Albu. I want him getting game time. So that is what we're going to do. And speaking of what we're going to do, is we're going to jump forward to the end of the regular season. Not the end of the regular season. The end of the first part of this. We're going to the winter break. It's the same every year, guys. So on the 20th of December, we are currently top of the Romanian First League. We are just 6 points clear, and Cluj have themselves a game in hand, so it could be 3 points clear. We've lost twice already this season. That's a bad season. We are currently as well sat 10th place in the Champions League, which is pretty good, beating Malmo, Olympiacos and RB Leipzig. Beating them by ridiculously high scores. At least we're scoring a lot of goals. Draws with Augsburg and Juventus, which is big. And then a defeat against Watford, because I feel like Watford are like unofficial rivals. We've also won the Romanian Super Cup, by the way, because, you know, it's a thing. We like to win the Romanian Super Cup in extra time, but we did win the Romanian Super Cup 2-1. I feel like it was an own goal as well. There was Renner scored an own goal, and then Boras, before we sold him, scored the winning goal. Now, I didn't do this earlier, but I do want to take a look to see how well the other Romanian sides are doing in Europe. So Cluj are in there still 20th place. They're in the blue, so they're in the playoffs at the moment, beating Olympiacos and Antwerp, drawing with Lyon and Augsburg, losing against Porto and Liverpool. I've just realised as well, we drew with Juve. We need to beat Italian sides. We need to make sure that we beat Italian sides if we are drawn against them. In the Europa League, we have Arges and FCSB. Arges have won 3 against Braga, Midtjylland and AEK. We've got a 1-1 draw against PSV and then defeat against Sevilla and West Ham. Big defeats as well. And then FCSB have beaten Espanyol, Bodo, Glimt and Shakhtar and lost against Galatasaray, Fenerbahce and Aston Villa. That's kind of fine. I'm okay with that. And then finally in the Europa Conference League, Hermannstadt have been knocked out, but Craiova have qualified for the playoffs, beating Legia, LASK, Lech and Mlada Boleslav, could be their name, and drawing with Maccabi Netanya. So they've done quite well. Hermannstadt, on the other hand, have drawn with PAOK and then lost against Adana, Brighton, Brøndby and Rosenborg. No Italian sides there, so it's not awful. So all in all, I think things are kind of going all right for most of the Romanian sides in Europe. Obviously, we want to do well. We want to get out of the group stages. It would be nice if Cluj can get a little bit more points. Maybe another win should be good enough to make them go through in the playoffs. We're going to jump forward now to the end of January, where we have £2.1 million to spend. So I'm not expecting a huge amount of business unless we sell somebody big, which I don't know whether we're going to, but I feel like we might be losing a big name. Yeah, we actually lost 2 big names. Montandas, who, to be fair to Montandas, I wasn't really playing him. I mean, I was playing him. He was playing up front, but he got usurped from his position on the left-hand side by Marengo, which means Montandas was kind of free to leave. He's gone over to Everton for 16, potentially going to 18.5, and there is a big old sell-on in there as well, because you know me, if I'm selling somebody who's under the age of about 24, I need to get a big sell-on. And speaking of big sell-ons, Mihai Georgiou has also left the club, but returned on loan. He's gone to AC Milan for just over £10 million, but we do have that 50% sell-on in there as well. So if he moves on in the future, or we want to buy him back, we get him at half price. If he moves on in the future, we do get 50% of the entire transfer pot, not just the profit. We didn't just sell people in January. We did bring in one player. Jacques Loeb is the one player that we brought in, a 21-year-old Cameroonian goalkeeper from Coton Sport. If you ever want to sign Cameroonians, go to Coton Sport, because they're just the best team. For £275,000, potentially going to 300. He's not a first-team player. I might loan him out if somebody wants him in the summer. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think we might have done a little bit more business. We've loaned out some players. Yeah, we've not done anything, have we? I didn't mention this earlier on as well, so if we sort by fee very quickly, a lot of players have gone out on loan. Nobody really big. Malewa, I want game time for him. Taiku needs game time. Lopi needs game time as well. So just a whole bunch of players going on loan. Like you kind of expect every year from me, to be honest. And things in the league and Champions League are looking kind of okay. We are still currently top of the table. We are 5 points clear, but CFR Cluj have 1 game in hand, so maybe just 2 points clear. In the Champions League, we are through to the playoff round, which means we did finish outside of the top 8, but we did manage to qualify. And we are currently 3-1 up against Watford, which is big. A team that beat us in the group stages. Cluj also made it through and are up against Borussia Dortmund. Looking at the league phase then, we won 3 matches. Malmo, Olympiacos and Leipzig. 2 draws against Augsburg and Juve. 3 defeats. Lyon, Liverpool and Watford. And then Cluj just about scraping in Olympiacos and Antwerp. 3 draws, Villarreal, Lyon and Augsburg. And 3 defeats. Atletico Madrid, Porto and Liverpool. So that's fine. Well, you know what's going to happen now then. We're going to jump forward to the end of the regular season in Romania, which will also be the other side of the round of 16, which is normally where we get knocked out in the Champions League. So I imagine when we come back, we're knocked out of the Champions League. Okay, we are not knocked out of the Champions League, and we'll come to it in just a second. Cluj, however, are knocked out, but they did draw 1-1 with Borussia Dortmund in Germany, so more coefficient points. We scrape past Watford, a 4-4 draw in Romania, but what is that, a 3-1 win in England, in Watford. So we managed to get through, and then we jump down to the next one, and we knock out current Champions League title holders Manchester City. 1-1 in Romania. A 1-0 win at the Etihad means we go through to the round of 16, not the round of 16, sorry, the quarter-final, which has yet to be drawn. And I'm not going to tell you who it is. We're going to jump to the end of the season in just a minute. When it comes to the Romanian League, we're obviously in the Champions playoff. We are currently top, but it is only 1 point. And when we were in this position a couple of seasons ago, that's where we kind of ballsed it up. We should have won the league, or not should have won the league. We should be in a much better position than what we are in. CFR Cluj doing very, very well, but obviously they have been knocked out of the Champions League, so they don't have that to worry about anymore. We're also in the Romanian Cup quarter-final as well against FC Rapid, so we're going to jump forward to the end of the season. Could we win the quadruple? We're not going to. We're probably getting knocked out in the quarter-final of the Champions League, but the fact that we've made it to the quarter-final of the Champions League is pretty big. If we draw Lyon, we could beat them. We can probably beat Lyon. Well, first of all, good news. We have retained the Romanian First League. 8 points clear in the end, which is very, very good. That's one thing ticked off. So technically, right now, we've won the double. We have also won the domestic treble for a second season in a row, beating CFR Cluj in the final 1-0. Who scored the goal? Georgiou's my guess. Who's it going to be? It's Georgiou. He also scored in the first minute, which was disallowed. And I bet you were thinking I was building up to some dramatic kind of thing where we got through to the Champions League final. We did get knocked out in the quarterfinals, but we did beat Dortmund and then lost eventually on penalties. We are actually in a pretty good position, I think, because we're able to get to the quarterfinals, and technically from that, we should have been good enough to get to the semi-finals. If we got to the semi-finals, Dortmund played Real Madrid, which arguably we're maybe not quite at that level just yet, but the fact that we've got there is impressive. Dropping down to the Europa League, you can see FCSB getting knocked out in the semi-finals against Man United, and in fact, they lost 4-1 and 5-3. So there's lots of goals being scored in the Europa Conference League. The final was Brighton versus Real Sociedad. Fair enough. Where do we see any Romanian sides? We've got Craiova losing to this team for Meliciao. Anyone else? I probably can't. I should be able to see them. I should know their name and see them quite easily. I can't see them. I'm going to assume that they got knocked out. Who was the other one? Hermannstad. They were down there in 34th. So we actually did pretty good. For a nation, Romania did pretty good this year. We've also got another competition that we've been entered into. The Club World Championships. Over in France, apparently, this time around. I assume we're in this because we won the Europa Conference League a few years ago. I assume that's why we're in this. Because we're the only Romanian side. If we scroll down, we're there. Just nestled in between Wydad Casablanca and Toronto for some reason. I don't know why. So yeah, we're in this. That's going to be next season though. Bit of a teaser if you want to watch that. See how well we do in the World Club Championships. This season, looking at the squad then from a goals perspective, we've got a lot of people banging 10 goals or more. McLennan scoring 11 and getting 23 assists in his debut season. That is a lot of assists for McLennan, which is good. Joel Omaru playing a lot of football. He's currently out injured, but he's actually come off the bench a lot. 15 goals, 5 assists in all competitions. Vinny Marengo on that left-hand side, 12 and 10 in the league, 15 and 12 in all competitions. Good first season from you. Georgiou gets 24 and 8 because obviously it's split in half, I think, technically. I think that's how they've done it. So we've got this part here and then this part here because he moved to AC Milan, but he's got 24 and 8 in all competitions. Then we've got Meziani, who's got 23 and 11. Considering he's only started 20 and then 7 off the bench, I'm happy with that. For a 31-year-old, Meziani's doing a good job. But the top goal scorer is Boubacar Niassi, the 22-year-old Senegalese international, who's got 12 goals in 17 caps, has 27 goals in all competitions, 11 assists, and he came off the bench 18 times as well. Niassi, for the 6 or whatever million it was, 4.4 million potentially going to 5.25 million pounds, he's been very useful. I was expecting Georgiou to play a lot more, but fair enough, Niassi's got a lot of goals. It's also worth mentioning, Kenneth Donkor has 9 assists from centre-back. I can only assume he wasn't playing centre-back all the time. Played a lot in the DM position. A right-back against Man City, apparently. Fair enough. We've also got, if we look, Razvan Lup, who I believe was probably our number 1 right-back for the majority of the season, getting 13 assists in all competitions. And Mikhail Vasil, who we know is our number 1 left-back, getting 20 assists in all competitions, and McLennan at the top with 23. We've done very well there. I think we've had a very good season. Now I'm going to take this time to mention our youth intakes. You'll notice I haven't really told you much about them because they're not very good. We've got this man here who's apparently 5-star, 1.5-star current ability. I don't necessarily see it. I'm not saying he's not going to be good, but when you think potential is from 0 to 200, these are players that are probably coming in with maximum 130, 140 potential. Our starting 11 has 130, 140 current ability. So we're not ever going to get anyone good enough coming through our youth intakes, or not often enough, for it to really be kind of useful, which is frustrating. If we take a look at our facilities, we have got exceptional academy, exceptional youth recruitment. We've got great youth facilities, which, by the way, I keep asking them to upgrade, and they don't want to do it for some reason. And we're still not getting in particularly great footballers through our youth intake, which, by the way, is also annoying the board that we're not using our youth system. It's not my fault that they're not very good. You probably also spotted there as well, we are in our FC Voluntari Stadium, which was built a couple of seasons ago. I don't even think I mentioned this. 17,000 capacity. It's already being expanded to about 23,000, if maths works properly there. 23,500 capacity. So we've got ourselves our own stadium that we can play in Europe in, which is always a good thing. The last thing to do then is take a look at coefficients, and already I can see it's been a good year. We are moving up to 5th place in the coefficients, which means 5th place gets 3 Champions League spots direct into the league phase. 1 in the qualifiers as well. 2 directly into the Europa League. 1 almost into the Europa Conference League. I think that's what that means. I mean, all in all, we're going to have a big old European invasion in a couple of years' time, aren't we? So next season, I think it's still going to be 2 and 1, but the season after, the top 3 teams in Romania will be into the Champions League group stage. We might need to start shifting our focus into trying to make those teams better. Because right now, we are the only team really from Romania who are doing well in the Champions League. We've got teams doing well in other European competitions, but we are the only team in Romania doing stuff in the Champions League, getting through kind of a few knockout rounds. So maybe we need to look at bringing in players with a sole purpose of sending them off to other Romanian sides to make them better. That is going to do it then for season 18 of our Building a Nation save with Voluntari. Next season, it's going to be another exciting year, and we have the wonderful Club World Championships to worry about as we go and hopefully win ourselves another treble. A quadruple. Technically, we could win a septuple. Is that what 5 is? We could win a septuple. I'm a complete idiot, aren't I? I've just had to Google it. It's actually a quintuple. That's what 5 is. Anyway, we're not going to do it. Thanks for watching. Leave a like. Comment in the comments down below. Hopefully, mainly for the algorithm purposes. And I'll see you in the next one.